Hey guys, it's Lady Calysta. Today I have my second installment on the latest new game called Iron Throne. This video is sponsored by Netmarble, and for those of you that don't know, I have a kind of first video where I talk about research and construction and monster hunting, basically setting up your account in a way to guarantee success in this game. Now, what I'm going to talk about in this video is kind of a bit more sophisticated and complex. So some of the things that I want to make sure you're keeping in mind of, and also one of the most exciting parts of the game, which is literally like a game within a game. And I think you guys are going to be as shocked as I was when I kind of started playing this. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is events. So you have your research down, your construction, you know what you're doing, you're popping research and construction all the time, you're monster hunting. You want to make sure that you're keeping track of the events that are happening in the game. Now, there's three types of events that you need to be mindful of. The first one is solo events. The second are inferno events. You can see those here. And then the third are alliance events. And you can see that as you reach certain point thresholds, you are able to get additional resources, all really super helpful material that is going to help you, again, progress. So you want to be smart about when you're kind of focusing on troop training versus when you're hunting monsters, and these events are going to kind of help you figure out the scheduling around that. Now, you can see where my alliance is today. I am part of KL Alliance. You're able to do a variety of things with your alliance. You're able to exchange resources. You're able to send helps. You're also able, and this is pretty important, there are coordinates within the game. So there are hives in the game, and I would say early on, it usually is helpful to kind of be hived with the rest of your alliance. It makes supplying resources much easier. If you're doing a rally or whatever, it's just easier to have everyone around you. So wanted to show you guys what that looks like in the game. Now, you can see we kind of have our stronghold, our base, so to speak, and you can see the various kind of castles around it, and those are all castles that are part of the same alliance. So what I'm going to do at this point is basically find like an empty spot and basically transport my castle to the kind of alliance territory. Now, as you progress in the game and you start raiding, you know, different hives, I don't foresee myself staying in a hive. I tend to not, but that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was the dimensional battles. So this is pretty cool, and you're going to see some really awesome cutscenes that I want to show you guys. But there is almost like a storybook mode broken out among several chapters about the game itself, right? So here you're kind of seeing chapter 1. You can see there's 15 sub chapters within it. All your troop tiers are going to be increased, and the really cool thing about this is you're going to basically have these battles. They're going to give you a little bit of storyline before you have the battle, so you kind of know why you're fighting. But you can kind of see here the graphics are fantastic, right? And this is sped up a bit just because I want to be able to show you a lot of stuff, but you can see that there's a variety of different things that you can do in these battles. So here we have special skills. You can actually summon an ogre that will come to the specific area on that map that you need help, right? So if you see kind of a cluster of enemies, you can have him kind of drop down right in the center of that to help. And this kind of portion of the game is really interesting because it does give you quite a bit of flexibility. So the first 2 times that you do it, they are walking you through it very much so you don't necessarily have a ton of flexibility, but ultimately once you're kind of doing this regularly, you're able to not only select the hero that you're going to be sending into these battles, you're also able to select the types of troops that you're going to be sending in, the amount of the types of troops. So do you want heavy cavalry, heavy infantry, and you're also able to basically select their positioning, which I thought was fantastic. And that is really going to impact the outcome of your battle. So it's very much like a chess game when you see that kind of screen in the very beginning that has, it looks very much like grid paper, right? You can basically select where everybody is going to stand. This is basically the screen where you can see how you select the kinds of troops that you want, how you select the hero, and then ultimately there on that kind of like chessboard, you can figure out where you want all your troops to stand, and that is absolutely going to be impactful to the outcome of the battle. Now, a really exciting part of the game is when you go to the gates of the actual kingdom. You can see that there is literally a game within a game. Now, this is very much a story mode where you have NPCs that you're talking to, you are being given quests. You are not necessarily controlling an army, you are controlling yourself, and you are basically fulfilling the quest, right? So in this, on the upper left hand corner, you can see my quest at that point was defeating 2 wolves. You're able to basically talk to the NPCs within this kind of storyline, and he's going to give you or she a heads up about kind of the next step and what's next, as you're kind of following the story. So at this point, we're kind of cutting down trees, and it's actually really well done, because as I was playing this portion, I almost forgot what I felt like I was almost like in another game, right? They have their own map, so you can kind of see what they call this section the town, and you can see there's going to be an invasion by an army, and it's up to you to save them. And you can kind of see the town here. You see they're being attacked by wolves, there's ogres, there's demons, like basically ransacking this village. That's kind of like the main bad guy. And the cool thing is they do actually give you options. So as you're going through the storyline, you don't necessarily have to go down a linear path. They do ask you, what do you, like right here, do you want to say A or B, right? Do you want to wait for help, or do you just want to go in? And I'm like, I just want to go in. So I thought that was actually really interesting, because it's not necessarily a linear storyline, but it does kind of branch out. I believe ultimately it's going to net you out in the same place, but it does give you that kind of opportunity to have that option. Now, if you kind of see the gameplay here, there's chests that you can get right as you're kind of running through the various different things that you have to do. Again, keeping in mind your quest list on the upper left hand corner. So if you click on where it says defeat ghouls, it'll automatically take you to where the next ghouls are. So this isn't going to be the type of mini game where you're going to spend a whole lot of time walking around looking for where your next quest is. They make it very, very easy for you to know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're having trouble finding out what the next thing is that you're supposed to do, you just kind of click on that upper left hand corner, and it's going to tell you exactly kind of where to go, right? And it's a really engaging story. In this particular mini story, this is in the very beginning. You're basically trying to save a town from invasion, right? And all the way, and you can see here again the animation, guys, right? Like there's so much detail, and this is basically kind of like the boss that came with that invading army. Again, I kind of give him a smart remark. He tries to shoot me. I don't know if you picked something else, maybe he doesn't. And this was actually pretty interesting, because as you're about to fight this kind of massive boss, your dragon comes in, right, and kind of saves the day. So again, pay attention to like some of these cutscenes. They're absolutely beautiful, really well done, and they add to the story, right? So I really believe this is absolutely a game within a game. Like if you are sitting in a rally waiting, or you're waiting for an event to start and you don't feel like doing the area that we just talked about, kind of the storybook area, there is this kind of story mode within the town that is absolutely engaging, has a ton going on. So wanted to make sure this was helpful and interesting to all of you guys. I am going to have another video coming up where I'm going to talk about a bit more complex material, as we're talking about like rallies and some of the different troop compositions, and kind of deep diving on that from a kingdom perspective. But again, super impressive. I feel like there's so much going on in this game, kind of far and beyond what I was initially expecting, that there's just a ton of material to cover. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Again, thank you for watching this video on Iron Throne.